very strong. Good to see everyone here. I've been absent for the last, I don't know, an absentee member, but they asked me to, I paid. But when Bong and Hill insisted that I talk about this topic, it didn't take long for me to say yes. But anyway, let me dive straight. It is a privilege to stand before you today to share the results of a journey that began with a question and ended with a revelation. Having served as RCBC CEO and having worked the past 6 years on digitally transforming the organization, we have seen some good fortune. We won the Asia Money Euromoney Award for Best in Digital Banking for the last 5 years consecutively, and fingers crossed, we're hoping to win it for one more year before I finally retire. But in the last 2 years, I've been wondering, was it a case of, as Raymond Lovchenko once sang, just got lucky? If you're in the wrong generation, you probably will not understand me. For example, the pandemic changed consumer behavior so abruptly to force everyone to go digital. But what was in it that we did that made the biggest difference? By the way, when I say the journey, it is not RCBC's journey. It is my personal journey as a doctoral student at AIM. Digital transformation is my dissertation topic. So I've had to go through about 60 articles to produce this, and I'm in the process of doing interviews with various people. So if you want to be part of my dissertation, you can contact me on LinkedIn, where most people usually find me. So I decided to study the topic once and for all, and today I will share with you my findings so far, what I discovered, and even if it's not yet completed, it has been very revealing. Now, in a world where digital transformation is no longer optional but essential, we ask ourselves, what truly drives the success in digital transformation? Is it the technology? No. Is it the strategy? Partially. Is it the budget? Not as well. So even if many of you here are technology guys, just like my neighbor, Al, it's about people. And I, thankfully, am a people person. Let me begin with a simple truth. Digital transformation is a defining disruption and opportunity of our time. But everybody knows that. Across the globe, everybody's racing to digitize operations, reimagine customer experiences, and reinvent business models. But here's the catch. While technology is global, transformation is deeply local. In the Philippines, we face a paradox. We are a nation of digital consumers, you know that. Social media savvy, mobile first, globally connected. Yet, when it comes to digital readiness in our organizations, we sadly lag behind our Southeast Asian neighbors. In fact, I conducted a quick survey through LinkedIn. 52% or half the respondents are either still exploring or are in the early stages of their journey. 38% said that they were actively implementing, and only 10%, that includes you all, consider themselves mature. Only 10%. Why? Is it our infrastructure? No. Lack of skills perhaps? Not really. We have 70 to 80 Philippine science high schools producing really smart people. To be fair, according to studies, 50 to 80% of transformations globally fall short of their objectives. So we're not alone. The reasons given are issues like employee resistance to change, wrong leadership practices, and the absence of support from various levels of the company. Therefore, to be fair, this is a difficult undertaking in the first place. I propose that it is because transformation isn't about technology. You can buy digital tools, but you cannot buy transformation. I know this is not the most appropriate thing to say in an event organized by the Technology Committee, but hear me out. What we found was something far more human. Digital transformation is about organizational change. It's about people. It's about leadership and culture. It is hard. It is as hard as, well, teaching your children to eat vegetables. You can buy the best vegetables, but if you don't create an environment where they feel encouraged and motivated to eat them, you'll struggle. I know, I went through this. Similarly, you can invest in the best or latest technologies, but without fostering a culture that embraces change, your digital transformation efforts will, like what we saw earlier, fall short. Now, over the past year, I explored how Filipino organizations can lead successful digital transformations by embracing our cultural identity, empowering people, and reimagining leadership. Today, I want to share with you the three most powerful insights from that research, starting with culture. In the Philippines, that culture is rich, complex, and deeply human. Pakikipagkapwa is at the core. Here, I am borrowing concepts from Psikologiyang Filipino or Philippine psychology as espoused by the late Professors Enriquez and Lagmay from UP Diliman Psychology Department. By the way, Ateneo and LaSalle have similar studies, so don't feel bad. We identify three uniquely Filipino traits that shape how organizations adapt to change. First, iya. And you might not have been expecting me to be talking this way, but this is reality. Iya, often translated as shame, is better understood as sense of propriety and dignity. It guides behavior and reinforces accountability. But hiya can stifle innovation if not addressed. Juniors may not propose ideas for fear of embarrassment. People may be afraid to take risks because they will lose face when they fail. Pakikisama or companionship reflects our deep value for harmony and collective action. Pakikisama builds strong teams as it encourages cross-functional collaboration. But sometimes it can suppress dissent or new ideas. Bahala na, I don't think you were expecting this, often misunderstood as fatalism, especially by the Western authors who slammed it down our throats, is actually a form of courageous risk-taking. Bahala na reflects our willingness to act in uncertainty and adapt on the fly. Remember the last time you said, bahala na? You were not leaving it to chance. You still wanted to take the risk because you knew that you could handle it. When these three traits are acknowledged and integrated into organizational culture, they become weapons, assets, rather than obstacles. For example, we found in our research that when leaders create psychological safety, they reduce the negative effects of AI. When leaders actively listen, ask subordinates for their opinion, have a constructive view of failure, employees feel more comfortable sharing ideas, challenging norms, and taking creative risks. You know what else I found out? This is a huge problem among fintech startups. When pakikisama is channeled into structured collaboration, it fosters trust, loyalty, and team cohesion. Critical ingredients for agile transformation. Teams do not wait for leaders to give orders. Decision-making is decentralized. And when supported by clear goals and feedback loops, Bahala na becomes a driver of experimentation and innovation. In short, Filipino culture, when understood and harnessed, becomes a powerful weapon for digital readiness. The second part is about leadership, but not just any leadership, it's a strategic type of leadership. Allow me to introduce two concepts: transformational leadership and dynamic capabilities. Transformational leadership inspires and motivates followers by creating a compelling vision and fostering a sense of purpose. It emphasizes personal growth, innovation, and change through strong relationships and emotional engagement. Leaders act as role models, encouraging others to outperform. Dynamic capabilities theory is defined as the firm's ability to integrate, build, and reconfigure internal and external competencies to address rapidly changing environments. This is my favorite strategy theory, no longer Porter. These environmental changes include disruptions in customer behavior, such as what happened during the pandemic, and new technological opportunities like AI. In our interviews, we found that digital transformational leadership is not static. It evolves across the three phases of digital transformation. Three phases: the initiation, implementation, and institutionalization or sustaining stages. The leaders modify their leadership styles across the phases. You cannot just be a one-style leader, you have to be a different style of leader at those three phases. In the initiation phase, you need to be a visionary. You scan the environment, you identify opportunities, you articulate a compelling vision, a digital roadmap. Your ability to inspire and align stakeholders is critical. You go around meeting employees on town halls to sell the vision and listen to their concerns, listen to their fears. In the implementation phase, leaders become architects. They break down silos, they mobilize cross-functional teams, and they encourage intellectual stimulation. They challenge their people to think differently and solve problems creatively. During this stage, pakikisama becomes crucial as employees from different groups start working together on customer solutions. And in the final stage, the institutionalization stage, leaders become mentors. They embed innovation into the culture, provide individualized support, mentoring, and they model adaptability. They create an environment where experimentation is safe and that learning is continuous. Remember, psychological safety and the need to reduce HIA. This is where it continues to become important. Leaders who combine the best of transformational leadership, which is inspiration, stimulation, and consideration, and the agility of dynamic capabilities, sensing the environment, seizing to implement and transforming the organization. Result, to a transformation of the organization's DNA. Now, the third insight has to do with employee engagement as engine of transformation. We found out that when leaders and cultures fulfill the employee's psychological needs of autonomy, competence, and relatedness, engagement soars. And with it, so does transformation success. The key theory here is, sorry to be introducing another theory, maybe not so sorry, is self-determination theory. I've become a disciple of this. The self-determination theory is a psychological framework that simply says that internal motivation is more important, and the conditions that foster or hinders people's ability to thrive is important because the SDT emphasizes the importance of internal motivation and the conditions that foster people's ability to thrive and perform effectively. Just think about it. Autonomy, competence, relatedness. Common sense, right? Common sense. But research, I think there's about at least 100 research materials that support this. They've tested this, and it's perfect for the digital transformation exercise. When employees are given the freedom to make decisions and contribute ideas, they take ownership of the transformation process. They become innovators, not just implementers. In terms of competence, when organizations invest in learning and development, employees feel that they're in control of the environment. They feel capable and confident. Hence, they embrace new tools and processes with enthusiasm, AI included. Finally, on relatedness, when leaders show genuine care and when teams collaborate effectively, employees feel connected. They support each other, share knowledge, and stay committed. In fact, we found out that engagement mediates the relationship between leadership and culture on one side and digital transformation success on the other. In other words, even the best strategy will fail if employees are not engaged. But when they are, transformation becomes not just possible, but inevitable. The good news is this: a digital-ready culture based on Filipino cultural traits, transformational leadership, and dynamic capabilities all contrive to bring about employee engagement. Now, just to repeat, as I find this part exciting, our cultural traits, when understood and leveraged, do not hinder transformation. They accelerate it. We don't need to import Western models wholesale. You might have been reading Dual Transformation. I also did. It's based on consultants' experience, not on research. And I think they probably have a bit. I'm still a big fan of Dual Transformation, but it has to be localized. By integrating Psikolohyang Pilipino with global leadership and organizational theories, we can create a new model for transformation, one that is culturally grounded, people-centered, and strategically agile. The local model, which, for lack of a better name, we call the leadership culture and engagement model, offers a roadmap for Filipino organizations to lead transformation on their own terms. It is a model that says we don't have to choose between tradition and innovation. We can honor both. So what does this mean for you? as leaders, managers, and change agents. It means that your role is not just to implement technology. Your role is to shape culture, inspire people, and build engagement. Here are 3 practical takeaways. 1, start with culture. Before you roll out a new system or platform, ask, is our culture ready? Are we encouraging innovation? Are we creating space for collaboration? Are we reducing fear and building trust? Is there psychological safety? Or is there so much yuck? Or are we just satisfied with buying technology? Number 2, lead through the phases. Don't assume that what worked in the beginning will work in the end. Many digital transformations worked at the beginning, everybody got excited, and then the lead left because the company had a different culture. I've heard that many times before. Your leadership must evolve. Be a visionary at the start, a collaborator in the middle, and a mentor at the end. If you cannot do all those 3, find somebody else who'll do it. 3, engage your people. Transformation is not something you do to people. It's something that you do with them. Listen to their needs. Invest in their growth. Celebrate their contributions. Because in the end, transformation is not about technology, it's about people. In other words, you will need to drink a lot of coffee. Because it is in the kapihans, you know this, I've drunk a lot of coffee. It is in the kapihans that stories are shared. And trust is formed between leaders and employees. Your heart will beat faster from the caffeine and excitement. Solution, decaf. I've been drinking a lot of decaf. I'm sure that you have heard about the people angle a number of times in different articles that you've read on digital transformation. But I hope that this time, I'm able to put more meat and more granularity and doability in that concept. Let me close with this. The Philippines is at a crossroads. We have the talent. We have graduates from more than 70 science high schools. That's one of my favorite facts. We have creativity. We sing, at least. We have the heart. We have puso. What we need now is the courage to lead differently. To lead with empathy, to lead with authenticity, to lead with a deep understanding of who we are and what we can become. Let us not be afraid to lead in our own way. Let us build organizations that are not only digital ready, but also culturally rooted, human-centered, and future-focused. Because the future of digital transformation in the Philippines is not just digital. It is deeply, beautifully, and powerfully Filipino. Kaya natin to. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you for that insightful presentation, Mr. Acevedo.